Hello and welcome to the United Stand. I hope you're all doing really well. Jose Mourinho versus the fans. Where do you stand? We'll be talking about that. We'll also be talking about Fellaini, seen in Turkey, still injured, but what's he doing in Turkey? He has been linked to, I think it's Besiktas a few times. I'm not convinced it's him on the video, but a lot of people are saying it's him. What he's doing in Turkey, I do not know. We'll also be, well, we will be. It's Wednesday night. We'll be having a look at the Super Brew United Stand Predictor League, seeing where everybody is, and I'll be gloating again, so we've got that to come. Link in the video description for that if you've not signed up, by the way. It's free. It's a United Stand Predictor League based on Premier League scores each weekend. It's free to play, and you can win a United shirt and money. Free to play, link in the video description. What else we'll be talking about? We'll be talking about revenge against Chelsea for Mata, Lukaku, Matic, Mourinho. So lots and lots to discuss. Obviously, I did my video earlier. Oh, I must also say, big shout out to the early squad of the people who get on the live stream before we're live, about an hour before. We have a little bit of a chat. They drop a load of likes on the video before we go live. So big shout out for you. And the notification squad, big shout out for you lot as well. They'll be joining us over the next 5 or 10 minutes now on YouTube. Notification squad of the people who get to know. Napoli are beating City 1-0. I mean, unless it's in the Premier League, I ain't too bothered at the moment. So we should have Rodney joining us very soon. Rodney will Skype in, but he was at the game at the weekend, and I wouldn't say that's where it started with Mourinho. Mourinho versus Manchester United fans, then where do you stand? Now, I did my video earlier, if you've not seen it. It was only meant to be sort of my message to Mourinho, my backing of Mourinho. And I think well, give it a watch, but the reality is I am baffled by it. I don't understand it. I really don't understand why there is an issue. There's lots of reasons in my video why I don't understand it, so give that a watch if you haven't, because I did it at 5 o'clock. But one example I did use was that under Van Gaal, you had United fans at Old Trafford and away singing Louis Van Gaal's Red and White Army right to the very bitter end, right to the death throes of Van Gaal's career. I knew Van Gaal was rubbish for about his last 6 months, but United fans at the ground were singing him all the time. We were battling for 5th. We were rubbish. We were playing side to side past the parcel football with 2 defensive midfielders at Old Trafford. It was a disgrace. And fans were still singing Louis Van Gaal's Red and White Army. Mourinho, in his first season, has won us a trophy we've never won. He's made progress. In his second season, he's made us play better football than last season. We're 2nd in the league when we finished 6th last year. We look comfortable against most sides. We are progressing. And yet we are now having an issue where United fans and the United supporters group, are trying to arrange a meeting with Mourinho to calm the tension between Manchester United fans and Jose Mourinho. Where has it all come from? Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable that it's going on. And to say it's all the fans, no. Look, at the end of the day, Mourinho put in his programme notes for last night. Hopefully we can entertain those fans who weren't entertained at the weekend. It's just poking them. It's poking them. And I heard a brilliant comment last night. Evening, Rodney. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Mark. Even how are you?
Good, thanks. I'm going to get your points on this, so I'll just clarify what I'm saying, and then I'll ask you for your point. I heard a comment last night on the watch-along from somebody that said, "What exactly? We're 2nd in the league. We're winning games. We're doing really well in the Champions League and the Premier League. Why is Mourinho even entertaining any argument with United fans at the ground? Why is he even mentioning that, oh, you shouldn't criticise Lukaku? Why is he even shushing them? Why is he even digging them out in programme notes? Why is he even engaging in it? Is it, you know, it's all right people saying United fans shouldn't do it. Why is the Manchester United manager doing it? Is this evidence that he's not happy as well? And from United fans' point of view, I don't understand what the problem is. I totally agree that if you don't like a team selection, or you don't like a performance, or you didn't like the Huddersfield result, you've got every right to go and have a moan. But the bigger picture, can you really be dissatisfied for where we are compared to where we've been for the last 4 years? I don't get it. It's embarrassing, and I'm worried about it because it doesn't make sense to me, Rodney, why this is escalating. Obviously, the press are going to just chuck petrol on it because they don't like Mourinho and they love a scandal at United. But it is being driven by both sides, I think.
Yeah, I mean, well, before I start, apologies. I have a slight cold, so I might be coughing at some point in the programme. I don't understand what's actually going on, or why this is even escalated. From the shushing of the fans, which from my position I couldn't see.
Oh yeah, because Rodney was at the game at the weekend.
Yeah, I couldn't see that, and I think, to be honest, we were so jubilant with the result, we weren't watching any kind of body language that the manager was having with fans. I mean, you could hear some booing when the substitutions were made and Rashford came off and Martial went on, but I'm guessing that someone has said something to him, whether it be in the press or he's got wind of a comment, and he's actually, I don't even so much just the fans. I think there's something that's been said about Manchester United, and it could be within the club, in the boardroom. It could be anyone connected with the club as former players. And I've heard ex-professional footballers talking about how Man United aren't playing well and they're not entertaining the crowds. And these players have never played for Manchester United, and they're commenting. And you're right, Mark. Manchester United fans who watched the team under Louis van Gaal and still sang his name, why are we complaining? I don't understand why we're complaining about the football that is being played and the position that we're in, because we are second and we are in the Champions League, and we've scored more goals at this point than we did last year and conceded less. If there is an issue, I don't see what it is. But in terms of the manager's point of view, I hope it isn't against the fans, because I believe there's the bulk of the Man United fans that actually are in support of him. I support him. I totally support him, because as much as we are supporters of the club, that is a job I wouldn't want to take on. I wouldn't want to manage Manchester United. People may say they'd like to manage it because of the salary, but in terms of being in the bubble and the pressure, that's a lot to take. So the only people that can benefit from this are the media, because we are the cash cow that keeps on giving, in terms of clickbait, in terms of printed pages, in terms of article. They will always go on about what he was like at Chelsea. He's not at Chelsea anymore. He's a Manchester United manager, and he has made us a better team. So I don't see what the problem is.
No, I mean, Bailey Lucia says Jose feels that the press is unfairly critiquing his style of football, especially as they heap praise on Klopp, Conte and Pep, which is very, very true. But Mourinho should be above all that. The press, I don't take any notice of the press. They're anti-United. They're they're anti-Mourinho as well, so he should be above that. For me, and I really want to dig into it and get what the United fans feel, because there are fans out there who aren't happy with Mourinho. There's some, like Andrew Ellis, who never wanted him, and I do respect that, because he never wanted him from the start. But I know that the vast majority of United fans wanted Mourinho, and something's happened, and I put my finger on it. It's probably Liverpool and the Huddersfield result that has made a lot of people, for some reason, even though we were always still second, start to question Mourinho. And I always said, look, I said it on August 31st, I said it all through the summer. He has not had the summer he wanted. He has not been backed, and this will bite us on the arse. And it has to a certain extent. But look at Spurs at the moment. They are beating the world champions Real Madrid 1-0. They drew with them in the Bernabeu. We played them 4 days ago and we beat them. This is a good United side. It is progressing. And I cannot for the life of me understand what the problem is. It cannot be... I mean, Scholes said it, apparently. I've not seen the interview, so I don't want to quote it too much. But apparently Scholes said it on BT Sports last night. Neville did a piece on it, which was positive but negative, in the sense that, in the long term, it's not, people won't like it, but he'll win trophies. And I think it's very unfair, because actually, very, very recently, we were playing really good football. It's only the Liverpool result where we were at Anfield. Come on, it wasn't at Old Trafford. And the Huddersfield result where... a bad substitution by Mourinho, to be fair. He should have brought Blind on instead of Lindelof, cost us that game. I mean, are we so good, Manchester United, now? Have I been in a coma for the last 4 years and we've been winning every trophy there is, that we're criticising a manager who's made us massively progress just because he drew at Anfield and lost to Huddersfield?
I mean, Mark, again, I'm totally in agreement with you. And this is a kind of some love-loving, where we just kind of like throwing comments.
Well, there must be some people who disagree with us. I'm looking at the comments.
Yeah, I mean, there are someone saying it's just boring football, and I had to actually comment back to saying it's a lot more interesting, and it's not as boring as it was with Moyes was there. And I travelled up more often than I have this season to watch Manchester United under Moyes, and it was really boring. I mean, like, really boring. LVG, boring. So at least we're scoring goals. People have to understand that Jose has taken a squad that is nowhere near as good as Manchester City. I'm a football fan. As much as I love Manchester United, I'm going to say that they've got players in that team that I would like. I'm going to be honest. I've got the green-eyed envy monster. I think, oh, he'd look really good in our team. I'm not even going to name names. And he's turned certain players. I want to say the players that he's actually made more productive in our team, like Fellaini, who we week after week cursed his name the minute he was in a squad, but he's now become an effective part of the team. And when he's not there, we're now saying, oh, we miss Fellaini. Would we have ever have said we miss Fellaini under LVG? Nope. Would we have ever have said we miss Fellaini under Moyes? Nope. So what are people complaining about? In all honesty, do you know what this reminds me of? When we actually think about football in the terms of what's happening with the other teams and them scoring goals and playing entertaining football, it reminds me of the old Westerns. You know, I'm going to go and shoot my way out of trouble. Jose is keeping his bullets dry. He's waiting because he knows this is a long-term battle. You can go in and start shooting and go, oh yeah, I'm scoring goals. Great, that's fine. It's only just turned November. I hope you're scoring goals in January when you've got to play 4 games in 8 days. I hope you're scoring goals when a bulk of your players might be away on African Cup Nations duty and you've got injuries. I hope you're scoring goals when they come back after February. You know, Mourinho has studied the league. He's not stupid. He knows this is a marathon. So when he's changing players, and this is what I had to kind of like think about today while I was driving home. If he were to play Lukaku, Rashford and Martial all in the same game and 2 of them get injured, who are we going to go to on the bench and say we have a like-for-like placement that has the same quality, that is just as potent as the ones that we have on the pitch? Lingard? No. Anyone from the youth team? No. So how can we actually say he's playing boring football? He's making the team play football much better than they did last year, much better than they did under LVG. The 1-0 wins don't look like, oh, we're going to lose the 3 points and only come out with a draw. When we get a 1-0, we're thinking, yeah, we're going to close up shop now and we're going to take 3 points and it's going to be a clean sheet. I have no idea why people in the media are giving him a hard time. If it was Conte, they'd be saying it was a great managerial masterpiece in terms of tacticians. I don't get it. There is an agenda against him. There's always been an agenda against him. Always.
I'd agree with that. And there's a great comment there from Andrew K, which I'm going to take in a moment. But I'm just going to go and do this now. The Super Brute United Stand Predictor League should come up on your screen now. How does it work? Well, the link's in the video description. And all you've got to do each week is pick your scores for the Premier League games. So, what a cracker that is. Stoke versus Leicester at the weekend. How's about we go 1-1? So you put a score in for all of your games. There's 10 games, obviously. If you get 7 scores, you win £1,000. If you get 6 scores, you win a team jersey of your choice. 8 scores, 2,500. 10 scores, you get 20,000. I'll give you 20,000 myself if you get 10 out of 10. However, it's not just about getting the score. 1-1, yeah, you get 3 points for that, I think. But if you got a draw, 2-2, you'd still get a point for that. So it's all about the result as well. If you went 1-0 to Stoke and it was 2-0, you'd get a close score point as well. And the brilliant thing is, if you sign up through the link in the video description, you get to join the United Stand League, which is free to enter, and you can win all those prizes, you can win all that money. It's free to enter, link in the video description. You'll go into the United Stand League, which has got 2,000, let me just draw your attention to that, 2,450 people in it at the moment. So where do you think I am in that league of 2,450? Well, I can safely tell you, I mean, let's not draw any attention to GC Wazir, just because he's top. Don't know who you think he is. Thinks he's Rod Stewart. 23rd, where am I? I'm sure it said 23rd. Oh no, 29th, Goldbridge, 76.75. Total plays 83.75. But the brilliant thing about this is, and I don't know who won the yellow jersey this week, it's probably quite low down. You can win the yellow jersey each week, and also it averages your score as well. So it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter when you join. You can still very well in the United Stand League, and you can still win the jersey and everything like that, and it is a bit of fun and a bit of banter. But I'm well placed to win it. 29th place. I've been in the top 30th all season. I keep knocking it back. Last week was in the top 20th. Now I'm in the top 30. But link in the video description for that. Do give it a go. Free to enter. Good bit of a laugh going on with it. And you can win shirts. You can win money. And you can win pride. You can try and beat me. So link in the video description. And like I say, averages your score anyway. So it doesn't matter what week you join on. So sign up. Link in the video description for that. But there was a good comment I wanted to discuss, and it came in from Andrew K. There it is. If Jose put on half a smile and stopped publicly criticising players, clubs and fans, this would be over straight away. Mourinho is perpetuating the food. It should have been over already. Or, I would add, like the fan said last night, why did it ever start in the first place? But in relation to Jose, do you think he is perpetuating the problem a little bit? Because you spoke about how, you know, it's probably the press that annoy him, but that's been going on for years. Yeah. Some of his comments have been direct at the fans, like his programme notes last night, like Lukaku should be untouchable and he'll defend his players over the fans any day of the week. You know, I've got no problem with that. Of course the players, of course the manager should defend the players over the fans, but it's not the right sort of comment to come out with. We know you're going to defend your players over the fans, but I can never imagine Sir Alex Ferguson saying the fans should not be criticising Ryan Giggs. I'll defend him over their opinion any day of the week. We pay your wages. You know, it's the old adage, you know, and also the fans should always be on a pedestal as far as I'm concerned. Even if you disagree with them, you've got to play lip service to the fans.
There is no theatre of dreams without the crowd. You know, it's not just about the football players. The fans, the passion that they give to the players, the atmosphere that they create. You can have a theatre but no audience. You know, there is nothing to do. You can go on stage and no one know. The fans are the people that make Manchester United, and they give back to the players. So I don't understand, you know, Mourinho's position or his stance on saying that the fans shouldn't say anything about certain players. We do it all the time. We do it on this format. We do it in the pub. We do it just generally in day-to-day conversation. Who we think which players should be in the team in terms of which players aren't giving performances. How many times over the past 3 or 4 weeks have we talked about Mkhitaryan not doing enough? Mm. You know, you know.
Is that old adage? Is he doing this to deflect attention from the players? But I would keep attention on the players rather than rile your own support.
Yeah, I think what it is, I think probably as big as Lukaku is, he's probably a fragile person. He knows that Lukaku is his main striker. No one else is going to score the goals that he's expected to score. So if your striker is going through a little bit of a drought, you don't want them to get any criticism.
Well,
you will
just Rodney, just very quickly, because I'll forget. You know what I'm like.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Lukaku? Because he's another divider again. I mean, what are your thoughts on Lukaku?
Right. Lukaku needs to go to the park and kick the ball up in the air at least 30 or 40 feet and try and practice catching it and it not rolling away from him. And he needs to do that 10 times in a row. His first, second, third touch, it really needs working on.
But we didn't know that when we bought him. I've got to defend him. I really didn't want him for that reason. But when we signed him, I sort of ticked a box in my head and said, don't attack him for his first touch. Because the world knows there was compilations of him at Everton, like of bad first touches. So I agree he's got a bad first touch. But I think it's unfair to go on about it because we knew it. You know, it's nothing new.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you're going to buy something, you think, there's a slight soil on that. It goes, no, I'll still take it anyway. Yeah. You know. The issue with Lukaku is for Lukaku to work on the areas where he's weak. The game last night, and there were moments when he seemed flat-footed, he didn't go to the ball when he should have gone to the ball, the defender nipped in front of him. It's almost like trying to play football in an unnatural state. He's not being himself. He's not moving when he should move, he's not going to the ball. And because whoever plays as number 10 has changed in the last few weeks, he hasn't got a rhythm. He doesn't know when the pass is coming short or going long. It's either Mkhitaryan. If Mkhitaryan's playing, he's not finding him or too far away. If it's Lingard, he may not necessarily make the same pass or runs. If it's Mata, well, he dropped too deep. Do you know what he's thinking? He's probably thinking, I'm the person that's staying up front, but no one's actually making any kind of formal partnership with me in terms of 1-2s, rhythm of play. So as much as I would say, you know, there are areas in his game that are weak, the players around him haven't necessarily thought, okay, he's not having a great period of time in the game. When we knock the ball up to him, we know straight away he's going to have to battle with 2 defenders. Get close. Demand it off him. Say, give me the ball straight away. Don't take 2, 3, 4 touches and then lose it. Make him become a player where it's like 1-2 touch.
Yeah, I agree. And you know what? There was a brilliant bit from Lukaku last night where Martial, you know, his final touch sort of went a bit in the final ball, went a bit in the second half.
I like that.
And it cut to Lukaku, and he was like, really, come on, get your head up and everything like that.
Yeah.
You don't get a lot of players like that in the modern game as well. I've got a lot of time for Lukaku. I was curious about him when we signed him, but I will back him. And I think Mourinho's right to back him. I just think, again, maybe the wording not correct. He's, you know, we're Manchester United. Look, whatever anybody says about Manchester United manager, what does Mourinho want everyone to do? Just to shut up and basically applaud everything he says? Forget it. I love Mourinho.
Never gonna.
That's not
never
that's
gonna
not real
happen.
life, is it?
No, not at all. Never gonna happen.
It isn't. And you know, as a Manchester United manager, effectively, you're a flag bearer, and at some point you will get shot down. Very few managers will do what Sir Alex Ferguson did, which is basically go through your whole career and walk away with you know, uninjured. You will at some point get shot down, and you know the club will move on, and the fans will stay and move on. So Mourinho might be here 3 years. So yeah, I'm more than happy that he's here, but I'm not just going to sit back and take everything he says. But I back Mourinho. I just don't get, like Breach69 says, he's not helping himself. He's pouring fuel on the fire. Nicholas Myers says that as well. The United lad says he's going to sign up for Super Brew, which is great. It's the Predictor League, link in the video description. Chad Sproul says Jose wants complete control over the fans ever since he got embarrassed at the bridge. Yeah, it's not going to happen because Manchester United are a massive, massive club with many, many years of history, and we've got minds of our own. But that doesn't. All I want to see from Mourinho is a smile on his face. Somebody said it before: a smile on his face, and forget about the fans. In that sense, forget trying to convince us about things that we're happy not to be convinced about. You know, you'll never get a more opinionated fan than a United fan. And we're not for swaying. We're not Arsenal fans. We have our opinions. And to be honest, when you've got over 90% of the support, which he does have, just crack on with the great job that you're doing as far as I'm concerned. The next thing I want to talk about, and this, you did sort of mention, you know, the fact that Mourinho has got United fans delighted Fellaini, which in itself is pretty biblical. He has been spotted in Turkey. Now, Besiktas, for people who don't know anything about them, they are a Turkish side, but they are topping a very difficult group. It's the sort of like the most interesting group. It's got Leipzig in it and Monaco in it and another side in it. And they are top of their group comfortably. Porto are in it as well. They've got 10 points after 4 games, which is, you know, puts them way out in front. They've been linked to Fellaini probably for a couple of years now. And Fellaini's situation is quite interesting because he was given a new contract last January, but it was only for another year. It was like the option of a year. In January, he looked like much like Mesut Ozil and everyone like that. He can speak to clubs abroad. Surely the unthinkable is not going to happen, Rodney. I mean, to be honest, I can't believe I'm uttering these words because an opportunity to get rid of Fellaini, I would have done it for a packet of Monster Munch. But I probably still would, to be honest, because I don't like that style of footballer. But, to be honest, we totally miss him at the moment. Mourinho is obsessed by him. He's actually finally got the fans liking the player. How ironic would it be that at the point where Fellaini's actually, after 4 years of atrocious football and mistakes, he's finally winning fans round. He's offered a lucrative contract and he sods off to Turkey. It would just be, I'd feel so sorry for those fans who didn't like him for so long. Now decide they do like him, and up yours, I'm off.
Yeah, well, it says a lot about Jose if that does happen. That fans are, like myself, would be thinking, oh, would he really leave? I wouldn't hold it against him if he does go to Besiktas. And
why do you think he would want to, though? I think that's the point, because I think he's been offered a contract of 150 grand. I doubt Turkish clubs can match that. I suppose he probably is a squad player at United when everybody's fit, but you know, he has been playing a lot. He's finally won the crowd around. He's got a manager who loves him. He's got cult status, I suppose, amongst the fans now. He's done himself a lot of good this season. I can't see for the life of me why he'd want to go.
I think he might. Maybe he'll. Maybe his salary. Maybe that club may offer him a better contract.
I suppose it's free, isn't it? He's free, so he'll get a lot of money. Yeah,
and it might be tax free if he goes there for a year, 2 years, and it may not necessarily be the case if he stays in England. And he's been in England a while as well. You know, let's face it. He may think he might fancy another challenge in another league. It does happen. But if he does go, I mean, that kind of poses the question as to who's going to come in and replace him, and what type of midfielder that we would want to fit in the style that we keep talking about, or what type of midfielder that Jose would bring in to supplement what Matic does already.
We're talking about Fellaini. I think we've got a lot of people joining us now because instead of watching the United stand, they've decided to watch clubs they don't even support in the Champions League. So you're very welcome, but we're very hurt. Please do drop a like and you can redeem yourself, and hit that share button and share it, and let's get over 1,000 people watching. We've been speaking about Mourinho versus the fans in this weird situation, but we're talking about Fellaini at the moment, and he's been seen in Turkey. It does look a lot like him, and I'm sure it probably is him, but I'm not. His hair looks a little bit darker, but you know, he is in Turkey. He is in a hotel. He's obviously still recovering from injury. He's only, I suppose, when you think about it, on January the 1st, he can talk to anybody he wants outside of England and sign for them, I think. So he's only a couple of months away from that. Louise O'Donoghue says, no thanks, Fellaini. You're going to be 30 soon. We don't need you at £130,000 a week. Just want him to go. Mike Rollins says he's not going anywhere. I want us to take a couple of comments while you think about whether you want him to stay or not, Rodney.
This will probably
replace him, says Tootie Tootie.
Yeah, I thought of that yesterday, actually. McTominay played quite well yesterday.
So it's up to you then. Would you keep Fellaini if he was? Would you want him to go, or would you let him go to the Besiktas? Would you give him a new 3-year contract, or would you let him go?
What do you know? What this is really hard not knowing what options are available in the summer or in January, should I say? You know, if we were bringing in a quality midfielder to replace him, then I wouldn't say no to him leaving. But if the club don't back Jose, and they're saying he can't bring anyone in until the summer, then you'd want him to stay as a squad player, and you'd probably expect him to stay until the summer anyway. I mean, he can talk to someone in January. It doesn't mean he's going to necessarily sign a contract with anyone. It's just, you know, like if you say, I want to move house, and you go and look at houses, and then you decide, no, I'll stay where I am. It's still possible. So, I'm going to put myself right out there. I'm sitting on the fence at the moment. I'm not going to sit on the fence. I've never liked him at the club, but I'm one of those who have been converted into thinking that he's definitely a squad player, and it would be a loss if he left.
Good. I'm glad. I wouldn't expect you to sit on the fence, because that's not what the United stand's about. So, Rodney would like to see him stay. I think that could be the issue. Really, is that thankfully, if everyone's fit, Fellaini's not a first team player for United, and I do think that Fellaini had a good start to the season. But let me just delve a little bit here, because I'm sort of trying not to get a load of hate against me with what I'm about to say. I think we can all accept that this international break taught us one thing, that the first 6-7 games of the Premier League, we were playing not very good sides. Everton, Leicester, Swansea. They weren't very good sides, and a lot of our rivals said that. And we scored a lot of goals and we got a lot of points. And we could only beat what was in front of us. And Fellaini was a big part of that. I think this sort of mini international break period against Huddersfield and Liverpool and Spurs, we've seen better opposition. I think Huddersfield could beat a lot of those teams that we beat. Liverpool are better than a lot of those teams, and Spurs are probably the best team in the league with Man City. And I think we've rose to that challenge. I'm not digging United out at all, but we rose to that challenge against Spurs at the weekend. I did say, yeah, Fellaini's doing well at the moment, but let's see what he does against better opposition. And I still think he would be exposed against the better teams. I still think that against Spurs at the weekend, we were better off with Herrera's mobility than we would have been with Fellaini lumbering around. For me, if we've got an opportunity to sell Fellaini, I will still take it. And I know that upsets a lot of people, but I'm not going to lie. I think there's better out there, and I don't like that sort of player. I mean, I don't know what your thoughts about McTominay were last night, but again, I have concerns about him because I called him. I got a lot of stick for this. I called him Meg Tominay because he got nutmegged so many times. But he had a really good game. He had a really good game. But again, I don't like gangly, tall midfielders because mobility is a problem against players like, smaller players. I prefer pocket rockets like Roy Keane and Nainggolan, who've got low centres of gravity and are good on the ball. But each their own. But Fellaini, for me, I'd like Fellaini to stay if he was actually used as a number 10 because I think that's where his best position is. And at the moment, we're crying out for a number 10. I really wish he was fit at the moment because he'd do a better job than Lingard and Mkhitaryan. But he's clearly not going to be fit before the international break. So we crack on. But McTominay could prove me wrong. He is more mobile than Fellaini and he's definitely better at passing. He's got a good range of passing on him. And the thing I love about McTominay is that Mourinho's finally done what I really wanted him to do and was promote a youth player of his own. That he's a Mourinho youth player. And he played him for 90 minutes in a Champions League game. And again, that's for me, as a Mourinho fan, that's another up yours to the press and everybody else who say he doesn't play youth. Because he's just promoted a Manchester United youth player that we'd never really heard of. And he played him for 90 minutes in an important Champions League game. So shove that in your pipe and smoke it, the critics. Because, again, I go back to, I don't know what more Mourinho can do. I accept he needs to wind his neck in and sit down and stop getting involved in petty arguments with the people who basically are there to support him. But to Mourinho's critics, what your angle is, I do not know. He's doing everything he can do and we're progressing.
Yeah, I mean, again, the McTominay promotion for me came out of nowhere. Of all of the names that we thought of, Swansea and Fosu Mensah and Pereira, this 19-year-old kid has just been promoted. And we've kind of like missed Fosu Mensah and missed Pereira in terms of the players that we thought would have embellished the squad in the way that we liked. And they've decided, well, one has decided to go to Spain, the other was asked to go and get more experience in another Premiership team. So, you kind of got to tip your hat off to Mourinho. And to be honest, I don't think the naysayers in the media that dislike him, they're not going to give him credit on things like that, because this is a kid who probably someone looked at and said nothing special, and they didn't talk about him. So, Mourinho will get his credit that's from us at the end of the season when we pick up another piece of silverware and we'll say, yeah, he's promoted someone who's gained a winning mentality.
We got the hardcore on tonight. The 900 people who are watching, big shout out to you. Thanks everyone for watching. You've not deserted the United Stand Manchester United support ship to go and watch clubs that we're not meant to like, i.e. Man City and Liverpool. And I know some of you are because you keep talking about how good Napoli are. I can't believe you're watching Man City. Disgraceful. But for those who are here, 900, let's see if we can get 500 likes while we're live because I'm enjoying the show and we'll stay on for a bit with the hardcore. So drop a 500 like challenge. Let's see if we can do it. And Josh E's made a contribution. Thank you, Josh. I really like this. I can't use the swear word because I don't agree with it. But he says, just to say, I effing hate Mark Hughes, and that's worth a £2 contribution. I mean, we'll talk about it very, very quickly, Rodney. I don't know whether you saw it off the Manchester United Twitter feed or anybody else saw it, actually. No. But I was quite surprised because I was just about to go in and have my root canal. And it started to hurt before I'd even gone into the dentist when I saw the tweet off United. Basically saying, happy birthday to Mark Hughes. I mean, thankfully, most Manchester United fans on the replies encapsulated my mood of why are we saying happy birthday to Mark Hughes, the man who caused massive pain for us in 2012 by giving up and letting Man City score 2 goals in stoppage time. I think it was 2006, United versus Chelsea. He was on telly as a pundit. He said he wanted Chelsea to win, who every single year, whether it's Stoke, Blackburn or anybody else he's bloody managed, gets them up like it's their cup final against United. I don't know why. My mate messaged me today, Rodney. He said, I can't stand Mark Hughes. And I said, I don't think you're the only one. He said, I can't stand him. The way he behaves, it's as if Manchester United treated him really badly. And we never did. He is so bitter against United. He will never get any praise from me as a United legend or ever again.
I can't work out why he's so angry with the club. I mean, as a player, I thought he was the best thing since sliced bread. He scored many good goals for us.
Yeah, volleys and all
as a manager, you're right. I mean, Stoke, whenever we play them, you know they're going to roll over and get their tummy tickled after they've played us for anyone else. So yeah, happy birthday, Mark, but not necessarily happy birthday, Mark.
No, and somebody just said, how can you blame him for 2012? That is, talking about anyone who's watching Man City tonight, I don't watch Man City, but I did. I don't know why I allowed myself to do it, because it's one of the most painful games I've ever watched. But because QPR were winning, and there was only 10 minutes left, I idiotically turned that on and stopped watching United. And obviously, if they'd drawn, we would have still won the league, and we were waiting for that result. Hits the 90th minute, QPR are still winning. Dieko equalises 2 minutes into it. Mark Hughes runs to the touchline to his players and says, we're safe. Because they were playing like their lives depended on it, because they weren't safe. They didn't know. They were waiting on another result. Dieko scores 2 minutes into extra injury time. The other result's already over. Mark Hughes runs to the touchline and says to everybody, it's over. We're safe. His players down tools, and then Aguero goes and scores that goal. Players who'd been playing like their lives depended on it suddenly played like, well, it was like a hot knife through butter. City, 2 goals in injury time. Tyler's orgasming to the best bloody celebration he's ever done. But it was because QPR down tools and Mark Hughes told him to. Call it selfishness or not, what loyalty? Well, what loyalty should he have to Manchester United? A hell of a lot, as a player that a lot of United fans still call a legend. But if you watch that game, and I totally regret doing it. You watch what he does after the Dzeko goal. He comes up and says, it's over, we're safe. He didn't, if he loved United or cared for United, he wouldn't do that. And for some reason, he doesn't. Anyway, enough of Hughes.
Yeah.
We've not quite hit 400 likes yet, but keep liking, keep sharing, keep getting involved, subscribing and all that jazz. We'll carry on. It's not going, but yeah, good point here from Abasalam. He says Griezmann can't play for us in the Champions League. No, he can't. It's not. I think football's all about fine margins, isn't it? We talk about fitness and how if you're not fully fit, that 2 or 3% off the other players will make you look really bad. We used to say it about Rooney all the time. I think Griezmann's problem this season is he's 2 or 3% mentally not at Atletico Madrid. I think he wanted that move to United in the summer. Obviously, they got the transfer ban. He decided to stay out of loyalty. But there's one thing staying somewhere because of loyalty, and it's 2 things staying there because you want to. I think he's at Atletico Madrid for loyalty. I don't think he's there because he wants to be. And that isn't good for a footballer when you're not totally committed psychologically. Atletico Madrid are shocking at the moment, and so is Antoine Griezmann. Do you think he's going to end up at United? Would you still want him at United?
I don't think he will end up at United. I'll be surprised if Jose hasn't already looked at alternatives for that position, or the position that he was identified as filling, whether it was the number 10 role. With him being cup-tied for the Champions League and January coming, we're talking about Fellaini moving on. Someone's put in the comments a bit of his Avinash. He said about Ross Barkley being available still.
I like Barkley.
Yeah, I do as well. Apparently Herrera is also has the option to speak to clubs in January if he hasn't signed his contract. So it's not just Fellaini. Then when you look at the Arsenal situation, when you've got 2 of their best players who haven't signed a contract and they can leave in the summer, so they can speak to other clubs in January. So in terms of us losing players, there's the possibility. In terms of our rivals losing players, there's a possibility. It's going to be, I think, probably a much more interesting January transfer window than it's ever been. Because I think for those players, they're at a certain age in their career and they want to play football before the World Cup. And I think it will be interesting. So, yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to January, and I don't like transfer windows generally. I dislike them because I think it's just newspaper talk that kind of gets us on the edge, and then it's like tease. But with the possibility of players coming in and going out, I'm intrigued.
Yeah, and I think because Mourinho didn't get the players he wanted in the summer, and if we are close to City, it could be an important window. Talking of which, we'll talk about Chelsea now. Carl Smith has joined the Super Do, it is Super Do, but it's Super Brew Predictor League. Link in the video description. Free to enter. Scores every Premier League weekend. You can win a jersey, you can win some money, and it also automatically puts you into the United Stand Fan League, which we will update. I'm 29th. Yeah, thanks for that, Kyle. We won't speak before the Chelsea game on Sunday, Rodney, so I do want to get your feelings about it. Obviously, Chelsea beaten at the weekend. In fact, we're doing the preview tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, and Jason Cundy from Talk Sport, who's a ex-Chelsea player and very, very big behind Chelsea, is probably coming on tomorrow night at 8 o'clock.
Oh, well done.
So that'll be very interesting to get his thoughts. But let's get Rodney's thoughts, because I'm sure they'll be very interesting as well. Mourinho going back to the Stamford Bridge, where he was appallingly treated last year. I think in many ways this fixture is brilliant, because as long as Mourinho keeps his mouth shut for the next few days and doesn't do anything stupid against United fans, I think on Sunday, no matter who dislikes him, I think everyone will come together, because the treatment he got last year was horrible for their greatest ever manager. They bullied him. Conte, used it as an opportunity to get himself popular against one of their biggest ever legends. So I think everyone will be behind Mourinho. I think it's the perfect game. So he's going back. Might park the bus. You can tell me about that, how you think he'll approach it. Matic is going back. Lukaku's going back. Hopefully Mata's going back. And they lost last night, and we've won too. What are your thoughts about this game and how we're going to approach it, and what is realistic, considering at Stamford Bridge we don't have a great record?
Right. In a realistic term, you would expect us to not necessarily park the bus, but go there with an attitude not to lose the game. That's what Mourinho would want. He'd want to quiet the Stamford Bridge crowd and the hierarchy. But in the best case scenario, it would be nice for him to come away with 3 points. The likelihood of Mourinho not saying anything before the game is, well, it's probably in another dimension. He will be hurt. He will still be having certain feelings about how he was treated and about what was said to him by the hierarchy and in the press, about what happened or what didn't happen, and that will still be on his mind. And I think because of that, I don't think we as Manchester United have seen the Jose of old. We've seen glimpses of it, but we haven't seen that manager that used to have a sparkle in his eye and toy with journalists with the odd comment and line, and everything was good, and he would be able to kind of give you something without it being kind of bitter. So I think in terms of anything that may come out from Manchester United with regards to Jose and Chelsea, there may be a line, or he may have the same attitude as he had after the result last night, where he chose not to necessarily be too detailed, and was reticent in giving an answer about anything in terms of the squad, anything in regards to Lukaku. And talking about the Chelsea game, you can almost see now why he's protective of Lukaku.
Yeah.
You can almost see why he's saying, I need you for something really important. I'm going to protect you, put my arm around you. No one can criticise you. And then when you throw in the result that Chelsea suffered last night, then it changes everything. You kind of think, well, Chelsea went away and they lost. What will their mentality be like on Sunday against a team that doesn't really concede, and they've conceded many? So it will be an interesting game to watch. It won't necessarily be the goal thriller that we would like, but it might be. And if it is, I hope that Manchester United come out on top.
I mean, I'm going to talk about a lot of the things about how the game can be won and lost tomorrow, but I do think it is. Last year we tried to go there and not lose, and it was a disaster. We capitulated in the first few minutes, and that was game over. I also think, just like the Spurs game was last week, this is pivotal, because we're going into an international break. Man City will beat Arsenal on Sunday, and if we lose, we'll be 8 points behind them. If we draw, we'll be 7 points behind them. Whichever, it's still 3 results, whereas at the moment with 5, it's 2 results. We need to keep it to 2 results, and the only way we can do that is by winning at Chelsea, which we very, very rarely do. But Chelsea were poor last night. They should have got beat at Watford, but Watford just bottled it and parked the bus and let 2 late goals in. They'll be massively up for this because Hazard can't stand Mourinho either, and he's the threat. The referee looks quite uncontroversial, so that's a help. But it's massively. If we hadn't have played Liverpool a couple of weeks ago, Rodney, I would be a lot more confident saying this Chelsea's the team's no good. On our day, we can beat them, and we will beat them. But that Liverpool result has just sort of like been the dress rehearsal for this, that we don't know how we're going to approach it. And if we don't approach it with the intention of scoring goals, then a draw might be as good as we could hope for, which was Anfield. That, apart from a half a chance for Lukaku, we didn't really create anything, and the draw was the best we were going to get. But I feel that we've got to somehow get... I think if we get 3 points on Sunday, I will be like, we can win the league. If we don't get 3 points on Sunday, I'll be like, we're not out of the title race, but we've got a real battle on. I think if we win it, I'd be so excited, because I know 5 points is still a lot, but City have got to play us and Spurs in December, and 5 points could just disintegrate very quickly. Yeah,
well, it's funny actually, because as much as we talk about City and their goal threat, they play Arsenal on the same day. You know, the no spine Arsenal that people have been talking about. Wouldn't it be funny if Arsenal turn up that day and give City a game, and then the 5 points that we have is whittled down or held? So it's as much as we can look at the Chelsea game and say, you know, we can't lose, and and I hope we don't lose, and it'd be great if we win. There are other games that are going on that will have an impact, and as much as the players will be focused on Chelsea, they'll kind of keep an ear out and think, oh, what's happening elsewhere? How will that impact our position in the league? Because Mourinho has kind of developed and nurtured an attitude where they want to win. They want to win trophies. So I believe everyone will be focused. He will definitely make sure that everyone will know their jobs on that day, exactly what they need to do. And if someone isn't performing, he'll make changes. He'll definitely make changes. The area where we need strengthening in terms of midfield, where, I mean, everyone's been talking about Pogba, will he come back? I wouldn't want Pogba to come back for a game like this. I wouldn't want him to start. If he's available, then he can be on the bench. But this is a really key game, and after having a hamstring injury for such a long period of time, you need to come back into the first team when you're totally fit, and not necessarily when it's going to be up against our toughest opponents, when you're going to have to be on your mettle mentally and physically.
Yeah, I don't see Pogba back at all for it. And I agree with you, Theon Curtin. Arsenal will bottle it up north once again. I'm not expecting anything other than, I think it could even be something like 4-0. Robbie will be loving it off Arsenal Fan TV. He'll be absolutely loving it, because I think they will smash them, and the meltdown will be back. Arsenal are a yo-yo club, and they'll definitely get beat up north. Right, so tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, we've got the preview. Join us for that. Hopefully Jason Cundy will be on it from a Chelsea point of view. And Sunday night it's going to be ridiculously busy, because we've got the watch along, at 4:30 kickoff, so we'll be live from 3:30. That will finish at 6:30. Then I'll do a match reaction. Then we'll be live at 8 o'clock with Sunday Night Live, but we'll also have fan cams coming in as well. It's going to be bonfire night. It's going to go off like a rocket on Sunday. And I think whatever the result, and I'm hoping it's a positive one, going into the international break as well, I don't want a negative result, but our record at Stamford Bridge is so bad. It's got to change at some point. I think we can win it. Well, I'm getting too into it. I'll talk about it tomorrow, but there's so many interesting bits. The dynamic between Conte and Mourinho. Mourinho hates Conte, totally agree with him on that. Matic going back. Lots of Chelsea fans not happy they sold him. Lukaku, Chelsea thought they were going to get him. We thought we were going to get Morata. So interesting, and really can't wait for it. Thanks for coming on, Rodney. Give us your Twitter shout out.
It's at Rodney_Cyrus with a C.
Cracking. And thanks everybody who's watched tonight. I know the Champions League game's on, but for the hardcore early squad, the notification squad, and the United Standers, thanks everyone for watching. Do drop a like on the video. Really great when we have Rodney on. And we probably do it again next Tuesday now. There's no games next week. Okay. Yeah, do drop a like, subscribe if you're new, keep getting involved. If you've not watched my video on the Mourinho thing, it was only 10 minutes and I did it at about 5 o'clock. You can get my thoughts on this whole Mourinho thing. And also, if you like watch-alongs, That's Football, which is our generic football fan channel, Xander's actually doing a Real Madrid versus Spurs watch along right now. So if you just type "That's Football" in, you can go and watch the watch along there with Xander. I think it's 1-0 to Spurs. So a cracking watch along to, whilst you've got the game on or not. So go over and watch Xander and then come back and watch my Mourinho thing. But thanks everyone for watching. Super Brew link in the video description. Make sure you sign up for that. It's free. Bit of fun. United Stand Predictor League. You can win a shirt and all that. But yeah, really enjoyed the show. Thanks everyone on the live comments. Thanks everyone who's dropped a like. And tomorrow night at 8 o'clock is the preview. Looking forward to that. We've got the old yellow pen coming out as well. Speak to you all soon. And don't forget, like Chad says, get over to That's Football and watch the watch along as well. Speak to you soon. Cheers for that, Rodney. Enjoyed it.
Thanks a lot, pal. Yeah, it was good. I tried going into the world of YouTube.
Have you?